And welcome to another look ahead at what you should be spending your time on this holiday weekend as we approach Easter. I'm joined with my colleague David. David, what have you been watching this week? Let's start off by looking at the small screen.
Well, The Last of Us. We've got the first episode of the second season of The Last of Us, and the thing is that when this first was announced, I was a little bit trepidatious because in terms of video game adaptations, they haven't fared well on the big or small screen. But the first season of The Last of Us did so well. So there was every reason to get excited about this second season, which picks up 5 years after the events of the first one. I mean, you know, from the opening sequence, which is beautifully designed, to the score, the opening tune by the Argentinian composer Gustavo Santaella, it's brilliant. And what I found particularly mesmerising this time round was Bella Ramsey in the role of Ellie, and how we see through her performance and that of Pedro Pascal as Joel, how the character of Joel unwittingly steals some of her agency, and I think we can expect to see this throughout the rest of the season. So it's a very exciting show, and I'm very excited to keep on watching.
I mean, what I find really incredible right now is, you know, so many people say to me, and, you know, people who are writing in to us as well, across different cultures, across different languages, is that we're all seemingly united by these shows. Are we in another, or are we experiencing another golden age for television, or are we just being force-fed?
I mean, we have absolutely no complaints when it comes to this year. 2025 so far has been a banner year for the small screen. The problem is that we're a little bit, I mean, speaking for myself, I'm a bit overwhelmed, because there's no time for the cultural conversation to just stop and for us to enjoy it, that you're already moving on to the next one. So, you know, Severance Season 2 stopped, and we're already moving on to White Lotus. White Lotus, it's the 7th season of Black Mirror, and there's Yellow Jackets to catch up on, there's The Handmaid's Tale, which is coming, and now The Last of Us. So we can't, again, complain, because these shows are good. I mean, you know, they've really been fantastic, but it's a little bit of a cultural overwhelm. Like, it's hard to kind of really stop and enjoy these shows, and it does feel a little bit like you're being bombarded by them. So it's tough when some people ask, you know, what do you recommend? Well, you know, I have to say Adolescence being one, the Netflix show, which is going to be shown in schools in the UK, and necessarily so, despite what Boris Johnson says and his terminally stupid take on that show. And The Last of Us does seem to be one that may have some staying power, so fingers crossed for that one, but the first episode really did promise much.
David, some might say we're also spoilt for choice in terms of releases on the big screen. What's caught your eye this week?
This week it's Sinners, the 5th film by Ryan Coogler, which is fantastic. He's coming back with his lucky charm, Michael B. Jordan, with whom he did Fruitvale Station, Creed, and the two Black Panther films. And this time he's set the story in 1930s America during the Jim Crow era, and it follows two brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, so a little bit like Robert Pattinson in Mickey 17. There's this kind of trend of actors doubling up in that respect. And here we see these two brothers coming back from Chicago to the Deep South in order to open a jive joint. So they buy this barn, and it's going to be a place of music and celebration. And before you know it, vampires arrive. But it does something very bold and unique with it, because it establishes that music is essentially this kind of cosmic bond, this link between the past, the present, and the future. And when we talk about music here, we're talking about the blues. And the way that Ryan Coogler intertwines the history of America and the history of blues music and vampire lore, which he does very, very well and sparingly, in order to create this kind of mishmash which really, really works. It's bold, it's very, very exciting, and allegorically so rich. I mean, this is a film about cultural appropriation, about segregation, about racism in general, not just in the US. How everyone who belittles other people that they fear, that they despise, also have this moment of being envious of their culture, trying to steal it, trying to pry it away from them, but also divorce it from its roots.
Okay, well, that's certainly a great recommendation you've given us there to go and see that.
Yes, so I'll be going to see that a second time during this Easter weekend. You're going to Paris this Easter
I
weekend?
am going to go to Paris, and some of the things that you touched upon there, certainly in terms of music, made me think of one of the shows I'm going to see, Paris Noir, at the Pompidou, which is closing down this summer, this year. So lots of attention, lots of people trying to go in there right now. And that show in particular looks at the impression that black artists who've been working in the French capital over the last quarter of a century, since 1950 in fact, hundreds of them, it explores their impact and how the French capital impacted their art too. The other big show that I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend potentially is the David Hockney. Massively excited about this. I can remember when I was a fledgling, a small art student, many years ago. That was one of the first shows that I saw, and I also remember when he first started using the iPad, and so much of this enormous show in Paris brings together. It's a retrospective. It's perhaps I think it is the largest retrospective of his career. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that this weekend.
Brilliant. And do you need a soundtrack to your weekend?
Who doesn't?
Right, I've got just the thing for you. Two recommendations. One of them, I've been looking at the hidden meanings behind songs with Jesus in the title.
It is Easter after all.
It is, and so I've gone timely. And essentially, when it comes to songs by, say, Depeche Mode with Personal Jesus, Chocolate Jesus by Tom Waits, Jesus to a Child by George Michael, and various others, and looking at the hidden meaning, which go well beyond the immediate religious connotation, whether it's heartbreak, whether it is the commercialization of religion and religious holidays. So if ever you need a soundtrack, that's something I can recommend.
Certainly we'll be checking that out.
And the other thing I can recommend is a band that is very near and dear, the Irish band Fontaines DC. Now, as you know, they've released last year their fourth album called Romance, which is, in my opinion, their best album so far, which is saying plenty because their previous one, Skintifia, it was superb. And they've just surprise released a deluxe edition of Romance with 3 extra songs, including one which has a David Lynch connotation, I'll say no more, definitely worth listening to. And the band are currently touring the US at the moment, but they're coming to Europe at the end of May, and they're staying in Europe until end of August. Anyone who can get a ticket to go see them live during the summer should absolutely rush to it, because I don't think they've ever been better when it comes to their music, and they're in my mind, the unmissable band of the summer.
Well, thank you very much, David, for that. So that gives you plenty to look forward to over the Easter break. Do join us next week, of course, and if you want more details on what we're looking at and what we're seeing, do check out euronews.com.